to Americans Got Talent. I'm your host, Jack Sainer, and on tonight's show, we had the 3 final contestants from our Gilded Age edition. Our first contestant is coming in right now, John D. Rockefeller of Standard Oil. Welcome, Mr. Rockefeller.
In 1855, at age 16, he found work as an office clerk at a Cleveland commission firm that bought, sold, and shipped grain, coal, and other commodities. In 1859, Rockefeller and a partner established their own commission firm. That same year, America's first oil well was drilled in Titusville, Pennsylvania. In 1863, Rockefeller and several partners entered the booming new industry by investing in a Cleveland refinery. In 1864, Rockefeller married Laura Celestia Sadie Spellman, an Ohio native whose father was a prosperous merchant, politician, and abolitionist active in the Underground Railroad. The Rockefellers went on to have 4 daughters, 3 of whom survived to adulthood, and 1 son.
Mr. Rockefeller, what did you do in your business to become so successful?
Well, you see, I owned a Standard Oil company. I was one of the world's wealthiest men. I owned about 90% of all the oil refineries.
Yeah.
Although you claim in past interviews to use horizontal integration to bolster your business, many people say you just eliminated your competition and were very unethical in your practices while creating a monopoly. How do you feel about this, including treating your employees bad and then just taking out the competition and getting lower railroad rates? Although you did all that charitable work, you still paid off government officials, which didn't, in effect, made them take a laissez-faire approach to dealing with your company. We'll get back to you on if you advance to the next round. Here's our second contestant, Cornelius Vanderbilt, entering the room right now.
Cornelius Vanderbilt worked for a wealthy businessman as a steamboat captain. Vanderbilt learned about the potential of the steamboat business through his job, so he later went into business himself. He built and operated steamboats as ferries around New York. Aggressive as he was, he became dominant in the industry by engaging in fierce fare wars with fellow competitors. His competitors would even pay him large sums of money not to compete with them. This tactic and aggressiveness caused him to create a lot of enemies and a poor reputation in the industry.
Mr. Vanderbilt, how did you acquire your wealth during the Gilded Ages?
During the 1850s California Gold Rush, I launched a service that took people via steamship from New York to San Francisco. My service was much faster due to the route my ships took. The route earned me over $1 million, and I was instantly successful. After success in the steamboat business, I shifted towards the railroad business.
What did you do when you went into the railroad business after the steamboat business?
The railroad business was in a great time of expansion. I was the mind behind the construction of Manhattan's Grand Central Depot, which opened in 1871.
Now here comes our third and final contestant tonight, Andrew Carnegie. Welcome, Mr. Carnegie. Thank you.
Andrew Carnegie was born in Scotland, but his family moved to America on hopes of a better economic situation. Carnegie began working in a cotton factory for $1.25 a week during the U.S. Civil War. Andrew Carnegie was drafted for the Army. Instead, he paid another man $850 to report for duty in his place. Carnegie had multiple jobs, including messenger in a telegraph office and secretary and telegraph operator for the superintendent of the Pittsburgh division of the Pennsylvania Railroad. In 1859, Carnegie succeeded his boss as Railroad Division Superintendent. While at this job, he made multiple investments including coal, iron, and oil companies, and a manufacturer of railroad sleeping cars.
After leaving the railroad business, you went on to go into a new business. What business did you go into, and how much success did you have in it?
I would go on to create a steel company near Pittsburgh. I felt as if I was a pro-labor union man.
If you were such a pro-labor union man, how come in 1892, when your workers went on a strike because they felt the wage cut was unfair, you would bring in guards to protect the plant?
I wasn't there, but I supported my general manager, Henry Clay Frick. He called in 300 Pickerington guards.
10 men died in a fight outside of your plant, and it involved the guards. The state militia was called in to take control of the town. After that, Frick hired replacement workers and fired all of the old ones because there was such a huge demand for employment.
After that small issue, I went on eventually to sell my company to J.P. Morgan. We merged and created. After that small issue, I went on to eventually sell my company for $480 million to J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan merged Carnegie Steel with other groups of steel businesses to create U.S. Steel. J.P. Morgan combining my company with others was an example of vertical integration.
Thank you, Mr. Carnegie. We'll get back to you shortly. Congratulations. Both of you have moved on to the second and final round of America's Got Talent. You beat out your fellow candidate, Rockefeller. I wish you both the best of luck. After you retired, what did you do with your money? Did you donate a lot of it, like other very wealthy men of your time? Or did you spend it on yourself? Go.
I did not own grand homes or give away much of my wealth to charitable causes. I gave $1 million to build and endow Vanderbilt University in Nashville.
Very interesting what you did with your money. That will be noted when determining the winner of this America's Got Talent. After you retired, what did you do with your money? How did you use it?
After selling my company, I became a philanthropist, in which I gave away $350 million. It was my moral obligation to distribute my money in ways that promote the welfare and happiness of the common man. And men that died so rich were a disgrace. I funded the establishment of more than 2,500 public libraries around the globe. I endowed organizations that dedicated to research, science, education, world peace, and many other causes. Among my gifts was the $1.1 million required for the land and construction cost of the Carnegie Hall. Go.
Thank you for your time on this show. After hearing what you have to say, we are going to determine who the winner is of this edition of America's Got Talent. We'll be with both of you shortly individually. Mr. Rockefeller, we're sad to inform you that you're not moving on to the second round. As even though you think all this charitable work is good, you still create a monopoly. You're a scum of the earth! Mr. Carnegie, Mr. Vanderbilt, each of you put a very close fight in this race. But due to Mr. Vanderbilt's lack of giving away his money, Mr. Carnegie is America's most talented businessman. Congratulations.
We're here with some protesters protesting Andrew Carnegie's recent win of America's Got Talent.
We want more money and we want safer jobs. It's ridiculous what Mr. Carnegie does to us.
Mr. Carnegie already brought in guards to defend us. I mean, not defend us, defend his factory.
Oh my god, is that oh!
Get down! Oh my god! The protester from the shooting has passed away. It is believed that the shooters have an affiliation with Andrew Carnegie. May he rest in peace.